Hey, 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 welcome back to the BeFree Project podcast. And once again, I am back with another interview with an amazing member inside the BeFree Inner Circle. Her name is Catherine. And I really wanted to have her on the show because she has been in the community since May 30th of 2020. And so as y'all know, I've been interviewing many members from the community who have been in there for a year or greater to really share their experience. So Catherine, welcome to the BeFree Project podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I'm so excited to have you here. So again, thank you so much for your time. One of the things, and we were talking about this before I hit record, is that I'm taking a look at the members who have been in the community for a year or more. And I'm like, I didn't even realize that it had been since May of last year until I looked before the call. I'm like, oh, well, I've looked before, but I was like, oh, it's been May 30th, 2020. Okay. And as I'm thinking about when you started the community and where you were, right? And then where you're at today, I'm like, oh, I've seen so much growth. I've seen you flourish, which is the whole purpose of the community in itself. So I would love for you to share some of the wins that you've had since you, or some of the wins that you've experienced since you've been inside the BeFree Inner Circle.
So I would say my biggest win, it trickled and led to other wins, was just the realization that what I wanted for me wasn't selfish. That prioritizing myself wasn't selfish, and it actually benefited my family and my children for me to be my happiest, most live self. Because I didn't feel that way before. Honestly, I was trying to do so many things that I felt I should do, but didn't really want to do. And so that would be one of the biggest wins for me, was just the actual practice of putting myself first and seeing how it affected my family and my household and how much lighter it's gotten. And then it led me to have enough confidence to run my business full time, which I'm very, very proud of. It's a little work, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Just knowing what I want is important too.
I love that. So, and I don't think I knew this until you just said it. So you weren't running your business full time before. That's something you started doing over the last year?
Over the last, about 2 months ago.
Oh, wow. So wait, are you no longer working for the company you were at?
No.
Wait a minute. You didn't announce that in the Inner Circle. I had no idea. Oh, I must have missed it.
But I know there's so much,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting and scary and exciting and a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
But I've been running my company a while. I just was also working full time, and it can be a lot. It can be a lot.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, because I must have missed that, because I don't feel like I knew that for sure. And I know I've been watching on Instagram and I've seen you post more of your jewelry and all that jazz. That is amazing, because it takes a lot of courage to step out on faith and do the thing that you know that you love to do. And then also, because I know you have 3 girls, to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to put myself first, and this is not a bad thing. And then also how you're an amazing example for your girls. Because I've seen the girls, when you join the live chats, they've been a part of it, which I think I love that. So I think that is so beautiful that you decided to make that choice to say, you know what, I'm going to step out here, and I don't have all the answers, but I know this feels good to me, and not feeling like you have to do what you should do, but how we read the book, the book is
should versus must, or
the crossroads between should and must. Yes. And I remember that book was very inspiring to you when we read it. So even hearing you say no longer doing the things that I should do and leaning into the things that you must do, which is equivalent to your calling, I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah. It's funny that in my head it was you're a mom, you're a single mom, you can't do that, it's irresponsible. And I'm maybe it's the most responsible choice to follow what my heart loves, so they can see me happy and know that they can follow their own heart.
So how has since it's been 2 months since you have been full time as an artist, I'm going to say, how has that impacted your girls?
They are actually trying to start their own Etsy shop as we speak. Yes, they want to make bracelets, and they're coming up with a name, and they made they drew a little logo that I'm gonna help them do on the computer. So But they've been with the market. They've been doing this with me since they were little. Like their games are all like business related. Like I'm gonna run a bakery and you're gonna help me. Like all of it. Like, and I love
Yeah.
that I got to instill that in them.
Oh my God. So how, okay, these are questions that now you can see I'm really excited because these obviously were not the questions and we'll get to that. But like, how does that feel as a mom? Like being, like we all want to be role models for our children, right? And we all want to be examples, but for them to be a part of it in the way that they are. And then now like, oh, if mommy can start a business, so can I. Like, and they're young, you have young girls.
Beautiful. Yeah, I know they're little. Well, they're not so little anymore. But you know what also is tying into that is they've seen me change because to be honest with you, like when I was struggling with them too. Like I wasn't as gentle or kind or the mother I wanted to be. And so they've got to see me like adjust and change and gain new knowledge. And they used to like to sneak on the live chats because they're like, look at all these women talking to each other. Like they loved it. So
I love that. And it's always a joy to see their faces. And I know for me, like when I think about, because I've been doing BeFree Project, or I've been in business for 7.5 years, and my kids have been a part of it the whole time. And this is bananas, but the year, so February 2014 is when I launched my company. And the same year I pulled my kids out of school. So I was homeschooling and running a company for the very first time at the same time. And so a lot of my business meetings, they went along with me. A lot of my live events, they were there. Like my daughter, like I remember one day we were at the library and she would go up to people and say, oh, are you following BeFree Project? And she would give this whole spiel. And this is when I didn't even have enough confidence in myself. And I was like, why did you walk up to that lady? And why did you do that? She's like, because everybody needs to know about BeFree Project. And she was serious. And so then the lady came over and talked to me and I'm like, nervous as all get out. And it's probably like year 1 or year 2. But seeing how I didn't know at the time the impact that I was making. And now my daughter is a full-blown artist, creating books, illustrating, doing all these things. And it's like, wow, like those moments that we think are being selfish is actually setting our children up for success, because now they have an example versus seeing someone on TV or or something, or social media or something like that, right? So
isn't it amazing how they can push you too? Like how your daughter's like hyping you up before you have the confidence. My oldest taught me how to sell at the markets. Like she was so like, oh, try these. And I'm like, I don't want to push. She was like, you got to say something. I'm like, okay.
It's like, but they have that confidence, that child, like, hey, they don't have any fear at this point, which I love. So the beautiful thing is that your girls are witnessing this at such a young age. That's gonna, like, they're gonna take over the world, and I'm gonna be watching. Let me know when they Etsy shop is set up, because I am ready. Okay, so how did you know that you needed support with doing the work? Like, how did you know?
I knew because I got to a point where I was like at a plateau. Like I had done some work. I had already gotten therapy, which like led to some like solitary, I don't know how to say it, just thinking, just figuring out like what is me, what are my ideas, what are the ideas that have been given to me, like all of this. And I did all of that. And then I just started really wanting women around me. Like I wanted sisterhood. Like it's something that I haven't experienced a lot. I'm more introverted, so I keep my group kind of small, but I was realizing that I hadn't valued connections with women like I needed to. And it's been amazing. And like open, honest conversations, no judgment, no, where someone's happy for you when you did something amazing, but also can be there for you when something hurts, or also call you out sometimes when you need to be checked. Like it's good. And I realized I needed that to push forward, and I need to see other women that were going through the same growth, the same awakening.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't want that to ever get overlooked, because you know how, and I've heard it, and maybe you've heard it too, where depending on where women are in their life, and if they don't have the sisterhood, the connections, and the friendship, they're bitter, right? Like, I don't need women as friends. And you'll hear all of that nonsense. And
just drama and stuff like that.
Yeah. And what I know for sure for me, I need women around me. Like I need it. Like I thrive off of energy. I thrive off of connection. And so when you said you value the connections of other women and being able to be in a space like the BeFree Inner Circle, where you can celebrate your wins, but you can also share a very vulnerable moment and everything in between. And there's nothing but love. And I think that is something, I know that is something that's so necessary that a lot of women, and maybe even listening to the podcast, don't even realize what is missing from their life because they don't have women around them who are doing the work, you know?
It was me. I didn't know that I was missing this piece that was so important until it just clicked one day. I don't know. It just clicked. And I was like, you know what? And I had been considering the inner circle for like a year. And I was like, nah, not yet. No. I was following you for a long time before I joined, a long time. And then one day I was just like, you know, I'm gonna do this for me. Like all the excuses, all the, you know, do I really need to be paying for something? Like all of that. I was like, yes, you do. You know, it's for you, it's for yourself, it's for your mental, like it's important. So
I love that. And you know, that's a pattern that I'm hearing with everyone that has, whether they listen to the podcast or they're in the inner circle or they're following on Instagram, they'll say, I've been following you for a long time. And I'm like, really? And I don't know unless somebody tells me, because there's so many people that are connected to my work in some capacity, literally all over the world, which blows my mind. Like I'm looking at my analytics. I'm like, how are people in Russia and Japan? Like how? I don't know, but okay. It is amazing, right? But then to know, like, even to be following my work for a year and like in some way feeling connected, right? And then finally say, okay, I know this is the next step that I need to take. And I also think that there's something too, I want to go back to where the conversations that happen in the BeFree Inner Circle, and this is something that I value in my own friendships, and that's why I'm bringing that into the inner circle. They're not surface level. Like I'm asking you like something deep and something challenging, because what I know to be true is that many women don't have someone in their life asking them the thought-provoking questions, the questions that's going to hit you deep. And you're like,
or even asking you what you want.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Not what, you know. Yeah.
How do you feel? What do you want? What makes you smile? And even we talk a lot about celebration in the community, and even that, knowing like, oh, something is missing, and to get these layered questions that's really helping you find yourself, I think is a beautiful thing, you know? So let me see. So what made you, so knowing that you've been following me for a year and following my work, what made you say, okay, I want to join the BeFree Inner Circle? Like, was it something that you saw? Was it something that I said? Like, what was it internally where you knew, okay, this is the next step?
I'm not sure. There's a couple of specific podcasts and things you've said that resonated with me. But that day, I just remember feeling like I'm done feeling like this. And for whatever reason, I was like, this is what I need to do. Like I'm just done considering it. Like we're gonna go. We're just gonna push the button. But the one story that you tell about when you were working full time, about having all the things you're supposed to have, and feeling numb inside, like something's missing, even though you have the degree and the job and the husband and the kids and the house. I was like, damn, she read my story. Like, where she's in my journal.
Yeah.
I remember that feeling, and I was like, I don't ever want to go back to that. Like, because it's weird, because you feel almost like you're being ungrateful, but you're not. There's just a piece of it. There's a piece. It's like you're not being sincere with yourself. Like, yes, you did all the right things, but were they right for you? You know, did you follow your heart? So, but that story, and then there was another one, that might be the one where you were like, nobody's coming to save you. And I was like, oh.
And when I get fired up, you already know.
Yes. It was like an impromptu video, and you were just like, listen, I'm tired of everybody making it like nobody's coming to save you. You got to do this yourself. And I was like, she's right. Like,
and I remember like the first story of, you know, having all of the things, I can visually see where I was at that time. Like I can feel what I was feeling. And I'm like, there's something missing. There is something that is not right here. Like, it's and to the point of Untamed and Glennon Doyle's book, where she said, like, life is supposed to be more beautiful than this, more, what life would you imagine for yourself? And granted, I didn't read this book then, but even having those feelings, I'm like, something is off here. And I remember this was an eye-opening moment for me. I was reading Oprah's magazine, and I don't know if I shared this in the Inner Circle before, but there was this, and at this time I was still working in there was this woman who had wrote in, how they have, like, in the beginning of the magazines, like people who respond to the previous magazine, like little notes or what have you. And this lady was saying how, she had been working all these years. She was now 60 or something like that. And now she could live her life. Now she could travel. And when I read that, I'm like, wait a minute. Right. I was like, yo, I said, there is no way. And at this point, I was like in my early 30s. I said, I am not waiting till I'm 60 to live my life, to travel. Mm-hmm. Like, she missed out on so much life waiting to get 60. And will your body even, depending on how you've been caring for your body, will it even be able to take you on this journey that you desire? And something snapped in me that day. And I said, oh, no. Nope. I said, I am not waiting till I'm 60 to live life. And that's when the questions, like in the Free Your Mind journal, came up, like, well, what do you want? And I had to be honest, Catherine. I had to say, oh, well, I don't want to work anymore. And that's scary, because if you've been raised to go, like, I went to college and all the jazz, and then, the next best thing is you get a job. Well,
and you work for 30 years. Yeah. And then maybe in our age, like, maybe you get a retirement, maybe.
Yeah. And I was like, no. And that was one of, and now that I'm saying this out loud to you, that was an awakening moment for me. Like, oh, absolutely not. We won't do that. And so now when I, teach inside the BeFree Inner Circle and, share things in a podcast or what have you, the question will always be, what do you want? And what you want today could be very different tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. As we continue to grow and flourish and evolve, things gonna change. And you have to be okay with allowing the change versus staying in this box, like, oh, because I make jewelry today, I can't do something else tomorrow. No, we are multifaceted. We can do whatever,
Right.
Yeah, I'm passionate right now. You see me, I'm on fire.
So you see me, I'm like, oh, I love it. I love these conversations. Like,
me too.
I'm gonna be hype all day from this.
Me too. And I need this energy. I am ready for it. Okay. So you said when you decided to choose the BeFree Inner Circle, you was like, I'm done feeling like this. Do you know what feeling like this, like what, if you could name that, like, what did that feel like? Because I'm sure other women can relate to that.
Everything seemed hard. Like, everything in my life seemed difficult. How is just everything? Like, keeping the household together seemed hard. Getting out of the grocery store seemed hard. Like, everything seemed hard. And like, that question of what do you want? Like, I couldn't even answer that at first, because I had spent so many years just not even considering what I wanted. Everything was about everybody else all the time, to where I didn't even, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
I didn't even like hear my own voice anymore. It was everyone else's voices in my head. Yeah. And what they would think and how they would feel, and like, would I let them down and all this stuff. And I was like, it's heavy to carry all that. Mm-hmm. It's too heavy. Like, I'm not for it. Like, I don't know. I'm not.
Mm-hmm. And I remember, I don't know if you caught the live with H, and I keep mentioning that on these podcast interviews, because that, when having her as a guest speaker, and when she talked about the mindset of weight loss, it really hit me. Because one of the things that she said in there is that as she was losing the weight, right? Like, she noticed how she didn't even say losing. She said, when I'm releasing the weight, she said she didn't realize that she was carrying so much of everybody's stuff. So it wasn't even just about releasing the weight, like the physical weight, but it was what she was releasing emotionally. And I got up out my chair. I said, oh my gosh. I said, that is it. We as women don't even know that we're carrying our children's stuff, our partner stuff, stuff from work, and how maybe you're not carrying it in your physical appearance, but you're carrying it somewhere in your body. So, and then so many people are not doing their work, that they're numbing the pain versus getting around a collective, a community of women to do their work with. But when she said that, and what you just said reminded me of that, like, we are carrying so much as women that we can't even hear our own voices.
Right. Because society almost teaches us that you're supposed to. Like, that's what makes you a good woman is, you know, you're there for everybody. You always show up. You just let them put more bricks in your backpack. Like, no, like, you can't, or you will break down. And I mean, literally, like, you'll break down. And I was there and like rebuilding, and I was just like, I need a little more push. Like, I need it. I don't know. It just hit. I need women around me. And I have great women in my family, but they don't necessarily understand in the same way, because they, you know, brought up the way they were brought up. And so I don't know. I needed y'all.
Yeah. And the thing is too, thinking through family, like if I think about my own family, they're not doing this personal growth work. They're not going to therapy. No matter how much I talk about it, they're not doing that. And so they can only give you so much based on their capacity to give. And I know in our culture, I know for me and my family, personal growth therapy, that was not a conversation. So I had to figure out a lot of this on my own. Like, I really had to read the books, watch the motivational videos, go to the conferences. Like, I had to do a lot of work on my own to figure out, okay, I don't want my life to be like Granny's. Yeah, she did the best that she could with what she had, but that ain't how I want to live going forward. And so I had to immerse myself, where I'm coming to making up words, in like personal growth and personal development, so I can figure it out. And now that I know so much, it's like, oh, you got to teach women this. Like, you got to share it, because nobody was there to share it with you. No one was there to teach you, and you had to figure it out on your own. So that's a lot of where my passion comes from. And so a lot of times what is happening is y'all are getting things in real time. Like, I'm like, oh, I am learning.
I love that though, because not just like I'm the leader of this group. I don't even know that you even think of it that way.
Nope.
Like, you almost seem like a member of the group too. And when you share things that you are going through, it's like, because, you know, sometimes a person can feel like, you can feel like they're up here. And you're trying to get there, but it doesn't feel that way in the inner circle.
Oh yeah. And I never want people to feel like that. Like, I'm in here right with y'all. Even now, I'm processing a lot of stuff right now in this very moment. And I was talking about this in the live chat the other day. And one of the things that I love about myself is that I am sharing in real time. So then that way y'all don't ever think I have my stuff all together, because I do not. Like, I got stuff that I'm working on, and I may be, you know, several steps ahead, but that doesn't mean that I'm not working on my own stuff. And even as I'm learning right now how to trust myself, I wasn't taught how to trust myself growing up. So now I got to read a whole book on trust. And now I'm like, ooh, I cannot wait to share this in the inner circle, and even the little piece that I did share, so many of y'all were like, oh, I don't trust myself, or wasn't even aware of it until I said something. And I'm like, it just goes to show me, like, the work is so necessary and it's ongoing. So as I'm learning so much on my journey about friendships and connection and, you know, this inner work and awakening and even sensuality, that's something that you and I have talked about. That is coming. Like, as I'm learning so much about the sensual side and sexuality and femininity and what that looks like, oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about it in the inner circle, because where else are these conversations being had, you know?
I'm here for it, because that piece, like, that conversation is not had a lot. Like, it's starting to get more and more, but, like, you know.
Would you like to do it together? Like, I know we're on this spot. Can we talk about that together? Because I told you when I saw you, when you did your last photo shoot, and I was on Instagram, and I'm like, Catherine has it. She has that thing. Like, I was able to see it right away. And so if you're open to it, and you let me know, that we can kind of, you know, just explore it and just like bring the conversation and see how the women, I'm sure they are ready for it. And I'm open. So if you're open, let me know and we can do that.
No, I'm open for it. I'm open for it. I can
Okay.
share what I've learned, but
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna do that. Okay, that's gonna be good. All right. Look, I'm gonna be on here talking with you all day. Okay, my next question is, what is your favorite feature about the BeFree Inner Circle? Whether it's the weekly live chats, the Zoom, VR Zoom calls, the daily inspirational quotes, community support, the small groups, guest speakers. Like, what would you say is your favorite feature?
my favorite feature, I like the live chats when I can make them.
Yeah.
They fill me up with a lot of energy and just that feeling of like it's not just me. Because since everyone's story is very different, there's pieces that are so relatable throughout. I love those. I love the books too. The book chats are amazing. Yeah, I will say that, and the friendships that get sparked off in there.
I love that. And that's every person that I've asked, hands down, 100%, everyone keeps saying the live chats, the live chats. And that makes me very happy because before I was just sharing a lot of content that I was coming across. And I remember having conversations with friends. I'm like, I don't know, like this doesn't feel right to me. Like what the extrovert in me, I need human connection. Like I need this. And my friend was like, well, Siobhan, why don't you just go live more if that's what you want to do? I'm like, can I do that? As soon as she said it, it's almost like I needed permission to change what I created. And I'm like, oh, we going live every week, right? And now that feels so good. So to know that that is the favorite feature, which makes sense, but you know, because you guys get to connect and all that jazz. But for me to be able to make that shift in the community, and it's everybody keeps saying hands down the live chats. When I can make it, that is what I'm grateful for, or that is what is my favorite. And then the book club. So we took a break and we will be starting our book club back in January and doing those once a quarter, because I really love those as well, because because the conversations are just always, you get to take it so many different places based on the responses.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then you mentioned friends, and this wasn't a question that I sent to you, but I know you have made friends with several of the women inside the community, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that as it relates to like building connections within the community where they start in the inner circle, but then now they're offline where you are actually meeting them in real life and traveling and doing all these things. So I would love for you to share a little bit more about that and how you feel open to even build those friendships.
I don't know. I think at first it just happens with just commenting on like something going on, like the prompts you have inside the circle, and then you can feel people's energy, I think.
Yeah.
And then it ends up in a chat. Like me and Keisha met early on, and now we've gone like vacation. And now we're like, let's do an annual trip.
Yeah.
Like merge families. It's amazing. I don't know. I think I done lost track of the question. But
no, yeah,
it's organically, honestly. Like people in the same place as you in life, or going through the same situation. Or you just enjoy like laughing with them, because that's another part I like, the laughter. And I don't know, the friendships just kind of develop naturally.
I love that. And because that's something that for me personally, I have the most amazing friends ever. And as I have been building these friendships and nurturing them, I'm like, everybody needs to experience this. And so that's when I started, even in the inner circle, like, oh, yes, this is a space for accountability to do your work, your inner work, but this is also a place to find your forever friends. And so to be able to witness friendships being made in the inner circle where you're vacationing together, you're traveling together. There's some members who binge watch TV shows together, like, oh, and you were pen pals, like you had a pen pal. I'm sorry.
Right. And share music and playlists.
Yeah. Oh, and that's my love language. Share the music with me. And I've been meaning, I feel like I'm gonna stop talking so much. But when I saw the songs that you were sharing for our playlist that I just created, I'm like, I need to know more of what Catherine is listening to, because the songs that you shared, I was like, oh yes. And it was one song, Flex. I think after I heard that song, I was like, oh, I need Catherine's playlist.
Every day. I listen to that song almost every day. I was actually just skating to that song, like an hour.
I'm like, I need to know what other music, because everything that you shared, I'm like, oh yeah, we must be vibing on the same level. The same thing with Keisha. I'm like, oh, Keisha, we are vibing on the same energy. She got some good music. So I'm like, I need us to share more of our playlists because I am a music head, like music over TV all day for me. So yeah, I love that. I love to see the real friendships being made because I think, yes, it's great as a community that we engage and we support and we do all that together, but having your person like that, oh, this is a person I can call on and talk to this specific thing about, and even feeling comfortable with even meeting each other in real life and like traveling, that's the whole thing, you know?
It's the whole thing. And honestly, it's not something, I don't know, there's a connection there. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be comfortable. My introverted side be like, I need my own space. But I don't know. I'm just comfortable. And I'm open to meeting other members too. I think there's a couple people that are here in Florida that I was going to reach out to soon.
Yeah. That'll be good.
Waiting for school to like settle in and all that.
Listen, me too. I'm waiting for school to settle in. Okay, so what is one reason you feel that other women need to join the BeFree Inner Circle?
Just to know that you're not out there alone. Honestly, like that there are other women who want more and are shooting for more and getting more, and don't have to feel guilty about it. Like that's the biggest thing. Like you're not doing anything wrong for wanting more than what you have. You're not disrespecting what you have. You just have something inside of you that that just wants more. I don't know how else to say.
Yeah, no, that's good. And to know that it's out there, right? Because I don't know if women know.
Being vulnerable though. I guess that's a big part because I remember the first post I did that was vulnerable. I think I deleted it twice and then reposted it because I was like, I don't know if I'm like everything's so happy here. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying like this today was really, really hard. And then when I did, I realized like a bunch of other people had gone through the same thing or something similar, and I think it was healing all around. But you can just be open, like you can have real feelings, like the world that's telling you not to have no feelings, you're supposed to just smile through everything. Like I think that probably I would say is the biggest reason I think that women should join, because it's a safe place where you can be happy, vulnerable, sad. You can say when you're mad about something and you won't get a whole bunch of judgment and like you should do this. It's just understanding.
I agree. Like and that's one thing that I will never settle for. We ain't never gonna judge not one person. And even when someone will say, oh, I didn't want to post because I didn't want anyone to judge, I always come back in all caps. No one would never, ever judge you. So, because this is not that space. You get enough of that out in the real world out there. You're not gonna get it here. And to your point, I love how we can share our wins. We can share our happy moments. We can share what we want to celebrate in ourselves, but then also I'm mad. And there's women who will cuss, right? Like, this is how I feel. And I'm like, let it out, release it. I am with you. Or they're sad or something has happened and there's space for all of it. Like, and it's safe for all of it, but there's also a lot of love and support where, to your point, women will say, hey, like, I see you, I hear you, I understand, and they'll share some kind words. And it's just what you need to get through the rest of your day. Because at the end of the day, Catherine, what I believe is true, we all just want to be seen and heard. And so many of us are walking around feeling like nobody sees us and nobody hears us or understands. So to be in a space with Black women, women of color, right, to say, oh, I see you. And here's some words that I can share. Maybe I'm not going through the exact same thing, but this is what I can share with you. And there's been many moments, and I keep saying this, where sometimes I'll catch before somebody deletes it, but I've seen it like, oh, I'm gonna get back to that. And they deleted the post. I'm like, dang it, I missed it. Because I understand that fear, you know? Like, what
and you feel like you've just been too open. So now you have this like regret and you're like, let me delete
this. Yes.
But you don't have to. Like it's all okay because it's all living. It's all being free, which is the point, right?
Exactly. And then my final question is, what would you say to the woman who says, I can't afford the BeFree Inner Circle?
I would just say that is worth it though. Like, and I'm sure there's all things that we spend frivolous money on, that you might, take a break from. to be able to afford to be in the group, because the support that you get is worth it.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of life changing, and like if you need it, I don't know. It's hard because I'm also very money minded and I'm on my budget, so I'm like,
Yep.
I get it, I get it. But I found that it just really is worth it, even on a tight budget.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I do. I think someone, I want to say Latanya shared this because she was someone that I interviewed, and she had made a comment of how when I asked her this question, she said, I go to Target and I'll spend $73. And I'm like, well, what did I buy at Target? Or we just randomly go in there, you just pick up all these things. And you're like, which I'm very, yeah. Yeah, like what is this? Which I'm very proud of myself, because last week I went in for calamine lotion and I came out with calamine lotion. So I was like, ooh, you are winning. That was my win. But she made such a valid point, because, and you too, like, we frivolously spend money on things, right? But how are those things adding to your life? Is it supporting you externally, or is it supporting you internally? And then what's most important for you in this season? And so I love, go ahead.
I was just going to say, investing in yourself is part of the work. It's a step, like, it's kind of a step of saying, like, I'm worth it.
Yeah.
My stability is worth it. My nurturing, because it is like, it's a nurturing space. Like, not everybody's been nurtured, to be honest. Especially when you're taught to be strong all the time. Like, it's a good investment in yourself.
Yeah. And to that point on nurture, I realized, like, I was talking to my therapist recently, and she's like, well, what do you need? And I said, I need to be mothered and I need nurturing. And it just came out. And I'm like, to your point, I didn't even realize at this point in my life that is what I was yearning for based on how I grew up. But I'm like, that is what I need. And she was like, okay, come over for lunch. And I'm like, wow. Okay. Yeah. I have a great, yeah, I had a great one. She serves very much like a mother figure, which is amazing because it's something that I need. And so when you mention that word, it's like, we don't even know that we didn't get the nurturing that we need. And so when I think of myself as a community cultivator, yes, I'm here to nurture, I'm here to support, but not just me, because listen, it ain't all on me, but I also cultivated a community that can do that for you. So I love how you use that word. Is there anything final that you want to share with the audience before we log off?
Not really, no. I think I enjoyed this conversation.
It was so good. So good.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. And thank you again for taking time to even have this conversation, to share your experience inside the BeFree Inner Circle. I am forever grateful to have you as a member. And again, I've seen the growth, and it makes me feel really good. Like, okay, Siobhan, you're out here putting good in the world. Look at the changes that you're able to see. And that feels good to me. I will make sure that I link to your Instagram page and your Etsy shop. Yes. Inside the show notes. I'm sorry.
My website just launched last week too. So
did you announce that in the Inner
Circle? You know what? I don't know. I think I did. I think I put that I was proud that I just built a website, but I don't know that I don't know. It's in there somewhere.
Well, this is what I want you to do today. I want you to share your website and share the link. And then also, you know how we have the directory? I want to update that with your website so that people can go right to your website. But send me that information too. So then that way, when I post this episode, all your information can be in the show notes. And then people who want to connect with you and buy your jewelry and just get to know more about you, they'll be able to do so.
Okay.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. And until next time, girl, be free.